A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video, but more on that later.
I just heard from Dana and Max. They're at the house in town, and apparently they lost electricity. That house has steam heat and a pellet stove, so they have no way of heating the house because the pellet stove won't work without electricity, and the heat also won't work without electricity. So even though our shipping container home is a little uncomfortable, it's actually quite resilient when it comes to storm events because we have a generator, we have the lithium batteries, we have solar panels, we've got plenty of fuel, we have a propane stove that doesn't require electricity to work. And yeah, I'm gonna go rescue them in town, bring them up here. We can have a really fun snow day and get all of our snow chores done. Got the first tree cut up. Look at this. When it rains and then the rain turns to snow, we're gonna lose like 100 trees on this mountain from this little storm. Not because it's a lot of snow, but because rain turning to snow with a little bit of wind. Huzzah! These chains are awesome. Yay, I wasn't sure if I had them here, but I do. Woo! That's the beauty of being a hoarder. So last winter I got a little bit better at driving on snow. The key seems to be good snow tires, snow chains if you need them, four-wheel drive, and most importantly, to remember that even if you have all those nice things, it's worth just driving really slow, because as long as you never slam on the brakes, really nothing bad can happen. You really only have steering control when the tires are rolling, especially on these old cars. They don't have like all of the same fancy features as the new cars, so if you slam on the brakes, everything will lock up. But if you just roll really nice and slow down the hill, you can still steer on pretty slick surfaces. I feel like speed is the name of the game.
Hello! Wow. I feel like I haven't been at the land for a while. I don't know if Lou told you, but Max and I have kind of moved down to town to my parents' house for the winter just because we were needing a little bit of ease. This is incredible and I love it up here so much, but with a toddler, the winter up here is just a little bit tricky. Like, not having a bath, not having laundry, not having dishwasher, not having running water. It was a really beautiful, I think we were up here straight for like 7 months. And now we're calling it our hibernation time. So that's what Max and I have been doing. But I miss the land so much, and I think it's hilarious that we get to come up here on this beautiful snow day because Lou's systems are functioning better than the town. We are without power. Yeah, I had this deep realization on a walk yesterday or the day before, and it's just been really sticking in my brain. You know, for the last 2 years, I really felt like becoming a mother had like been this massive transformation point, like this inflection point in my life, which is so true, and had pushed me on this new course, really critically thinking about so many different aspects of my life, why I do the things I do, how everything works. And then I realized on a walk yesterday, or 2 days ago, on the land, I was out on the road, Max and Lou were playing, and it was just me and Freja. And I realized that the land itself has also been this massive catalyst for Lou and I in a way that I don't think I ever like recognized or like put the pieces together or deeply appreciated. Like I've always appreciated this land, and I've been so grateful that we made the choice to set up our own homestead, setting up our own homestead. But this realization that actually it was the catalyst too. Like that's when Lou started logging. I feel like that's when we came into our own to really, in so many other decisions in our life, we've really gone all in. But we had like these 2 plots that we were looking at mainly when it came to like getting our spot. And one of them had a house on it, but it was like on a road. The house was right on a road. It wasn't like our dream house by any means. But it was a house. It did have heat, did have laundry. And then there's this spot that was just like a barren mountain, and everybody kept saying like, this is not a good spot. There's a reason there's no house here. Like this is hard. This is like so much effort. This is like literally an uphill battle to like make life comfortable up here. And there's like something in both of our hearts that was like, this feels so right. And we didn't know, we had no clue, what having kids would be like. We really didn't know what building would be like either. Like we'd built the van, we'd worked on our boat, but building a house is like a completely different, even the containers up on this piece of property has been a completely different level of learning new skills. And there's something so profound about recognizing how much choosing this homesteading, like self-reliance lifestyle has actually impacted all aspects of our life, the way we think, the way that we engage with like everything. So I don't know. It's funny. I think there's like ripple effects in the decisions you make. You don't even know when you're making some of these big life choices of like where you live, like what job you have, who you have kids with. Like, yes, you're consciously choosing those things, but it's impossible to know how that decision is going to then have all these ramifications. And that was a really special realization to me that like this decision, because sometimes I feel like, to be honest, there are definitely moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cold here. This is so intense. Like it would be really nice to be somewhere more comfortable, warmer, and with a beach, like the life that we kind of had envisioned living in Hawaii. If you've been here for a while, that's where we were before. But there was like this weird pull in both of our heart that like, I don't know, I feel like we should have our own land on the East Coast. And then we got here and there were still so many moments where we're like, why did we do this? But there was like this other knowing that was like, this is what we're supposed to be doing right now. And it's funny how you can have these two feelings at the same time. And yeah, it was just a huge act of faith to just like leave on a whim. And I feel like that's what it was. Like Lou just had a hunch. He was like, we should just go. He'd been looking at property and he was like, I think we should just do it. And yeah, it was just a a moment on that walk with Freya of being like, well, this was a really good call. And we still have a lot ahead of us. Even like moving this chicken coop down the road, down like our driveway so that it has access to spring water. You know, we're learning so much all the time. And while it was so fun to have the chickens near the containers in the summer, having to deal with managing their water when we don't have proper running water up here, all we have is the spring in the winter. It's been such a pain for Lou and having it constantly freezing and having to go out and try to get the chickens water. It's been just like one more chore when he already has so much going on. So it's like giving ourselves a space to constantly pivot and tinker and be open to like what the land is providing and kind of like reacting to that. So it's like, okay, we got the spring set up. Maybe we could just make our life easier by moving those chickens down there. And this new system is going to like work so much better, I think. Hopefully, we'll see. It is going to be interesting because Freya has been such a resource when it comes to keeping wildlife away from the property. And down where Lou parked the new chicken coop, or the new chicken coop like location, is like really far away from like the area that she patrols. So fingers crossed that electric fence is like enough and that like the coop is super strong. But it is really interesting because you see coyote prints like around the fence. And they don't come close when Freya's here. I think they just come at night. So it'll be interesting to see how the chickens do not being so close to the core of the homestead. But yeah, it's been a really interesting few months, honestly. Like if you watched last week's video, when I was very emotional talking about how I missed being up here and missed Lou, like I feel like I've processed a lot of those things since I chatted with you last time, but it is something that Lou and I are really talking about for like the new year because he had this major crazy push on the land from like September till literally like 3 days ago. So I was kind of like solo doing my thing with Max, and he was just alone on the land working around the clock to make everything happen. And I feel like that was a really strong season for our family, but like maybe not strong, like a needed season. Like there's all these things that needed to get done. Lou just had to make it happen, and that was great. But we were both like craving a little bit more balance in our life. And so I'm excited thinking about January, and it's just hilarious timing because I feel like I'm not really a big New Year's person. Like New Year, new you, not really my vibe, but just like timing wise, it's literally like opening up perfect that this is going to be like a new chapter of our family going into January, and I'm really looking forward to it. And there's so much I've been thinking about like for the new year and like what does this look like? How can we make winter something that we're thriving in instead of like enduring? And part of that is what I'm thinking is that I want to start averaging I know this sounds hilarious, but like 4 to 6 hours outside on the land every day. And right now we are not at that in the slightest. I feel like we like shifted into house life. It got really cold, and I don't know, I kind of like lost my connection to nature, and that's not helping me thrive. And I feel like it's also for Max, like he loves playing outside and I love being up here. So we're going to see. He's also in the process of dropping his nap. And so that gives us so much like a bigger flexible window because then he'll just be awake all day. But I'm kind of feeling like maybe we start some sort of like, not like a real school, like a forest school. So forest school is like the wrong word because it's mainly going to be me and Max. But we also could do it with his friends, like some play dates. I have at least 3 other families that I think I could like talk into doing some sort of like routine where we just do like, maybe Max and I are up here every day, but like 2 days a week or something like that. I could have other kids come and we could just like create space for like enjoying winter and like building this joy. Because it's so funny, you see the kids don't like, Max is never like, I'm cold, I need to go inside. Maybe some kids are like that, but that is not Max. It's like me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm cold. And he's like, you gotta put on, like Max, like will be like, when we leave the house, he'll be like, you need to put on your good shoes, bring a hat, wear your gloves. Like, can you put on an extra sweater? Like, I want you to be happy at Sandbox so you can play as long as you want. And so it's like, if I can get the right gear, Max is already like on board. And so I think it's just about figuring out life, because it's like 4 to 6 hours is actually like a really long time outside. I was all inspired. I saw this reel that was like American children spend like 1 hour outside, and like Nordic children spend like 4 to 6 hours outside. And I'm like, you know what? We should embrace that. That sounds great. I would love to have that much fresh air. I feel like it'd be so good for our system. So it's just about how do you, if you're outside for 6 hours a day, how do you also like do laundry, eat, like we make all of our own food. So like, how do I have home cooked 3 meals a day and like have a clean enough house? Like I don't like have, honestly, I have very low cleaning standards. There are piles of laundry and I'm just not the most. I would, on different strengths, like details and organization, not my highest strength. So that's why I'm kind of like putting this out into the world, into the universe, and into Lou, because I feel like Lou is one who creates a lot of structure in our life. But that's like kind of what I would love to see. Like I would love to see creating like an outdoor rhythm of our life, not by any means like structure, but just like, how would our life look if we had a lot of free playing outside? How could I make that happen? And then also still cook all the food that we want to cook. And yeah, I'm not sure. That's what I'm thinking. Like maybe we have a goal of like averaging 4 hours outside, because that means like some days you could do a little bit less if you do like a big food prep day or not. So if there's any parents out there or any people who like are interested in forest school or like outdoor play in a winter setting, let me know, because I feel like it's a very exciting time to have. Like he's 2.5. It's like such a fun, creative space, and there's so much to do. But then it's like also like, how do you make the structure of your life to make that possible? But yeah, I guess that's like kind of a wrap on 2024. Such a huge year. I'm wishing you literally the happiest holiday season if you're watching this now, or Happy New Year, or if you're watching this later, welcome to the new year. Because I think that like, yes, New Year's resolutions kind of are annoying and like people don't stick to them and it doesn't really matter, but there's so much beauty in like a fresh start in new beginnings. And I have a lot of hope for 2025. I think it's going to be a really, really big year for us on the land. There's so many projects that are already underway, and I don't know, I was even like just sitting at the dinner table the other night planning the garden with Max and Lou, and it's like the beauty of this land and the homestead is like you get to learn so much every year, and every year you get to try again. Like maybe our garden was small last year, but like we can try again and learn from every single thing. And like, yeah, it's very exciting. And I hope that we can look back on the next year and feel even more like connected to this land and even more proud of what we've accomplished, and just keep growing and keep learning and being open to whatever comes our way. So sending you all our love, and thank you so much for being here. Honestly, it means so much to Lou and I to have your support and just have such a great community of people who are interested in looking at things in kind of a different way. So we'll see you soon, and Happy New Year.
A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. I think what I like most about the new layout tools from Squarespace is that they've become so incredibly intuitive that even if a couple months go by and I'm not in website design land building new pages, I can jump right back in and remember all of the core skills within minutes. If you're not typically someone who loves complicated computer tasks, then these kind of easy to use features will be incredibly helpful for you as well, because when it comes to building and running your own website, Squarespace has removed all of the technical barriers. This allows us creatives to focus on the parts of the creative process we enjoy, and since the website tools are basically just drag and drop at this point, I can build and run a site in a matter of hours without the need to hire a designer or even watch a single tutorial. If you'd like to get a jumpstart on 2025 projects, now is the time to head to squarespace.com/wildweroam for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.